I'm Dr. Brian Goldman. Welcome to the White Coat Black Art podcast. White Coat Black Art is heard on CBC Radio 1 and Sirius Satellite 137. This week, a peek inside the diagnostic mind and the age-old challenge of figuring out how sick you are on the fly. Not the leisurely diagnosis doctors might do when they've got you in their office. No, we're talking something that happens a lot quicker: triage. A crack triage nurse in Emerge tells how she relies on her vision to sort through an endless stream of patients to quickly pluck those in need from the jaws of death. Imagine doing that blindfolded. That's exactly what nurses at telehealth do. Triage by phone. We sit down with them at the switchboard. And while we're on the phone, we take a trip down memory lane and dial up Randolph Mantooth, a.k.a. paramedic Johnny Gage, on the hit 70s TV show Emergency. There are the folks you talk to on the phone who tell you to go to Emerge. There are the folks who talk to you when you arrive in Emerge. And then there are the ones who talk to you in between. That'd be the paramedics. Back in the 70s, when paramedics were still brand new, there was this TV show called Emergency. You might remember it. Every week, paramedics Johnny Gage and Roy DeSoto rescued people from all sorts of terrible situations. While they were at it, they taught med students like me everything from how to order an IV drip of lactated ringers to how many joules you need to shock the heart. I've always had a soft spot for Johnny Gage, and so I tracked him down to ask about the good old days.
Rampart Base, do you read me?
51, this is Rampart Base. Go ahead.
Bob Senator, who actually created the show, he said, you guys are going to go down and you're going to take the paramedic course. So we went down and took the course with, I think it was the third graduating class at Harbor General, and just kind of hung around and started IVs and worked with defibrillators and learned how to intubate.
Vital signs: pulse 60, respiration 12, blood pressure 80/40, eyes sluggish.
10-4, start an IV, lactated ringers. Transport as soon as possible.
10-4.
Everything we had was real, everything. The biophone, the defibrillator, the tanks, everything was real. Now, what they would do is they would disconnect them so we didn't accidentally defibrillate somebody when they didn't need it. And so we were carrying around those 30-pound air tanks and that biophone. God, that must have been 20 pounds. God knows I've dropped that on so many people's heads.
Rescue 51, we read you. Start an IV with D5W. Give 10 milligrams morphine sulfate. Do you have your patient hooked up for EKG?
It's an affirmative. We'll transmit it to you now.
In order to do a television show now, you're instructed, well, you have to have A story and B story and C story and sometimes D story. On Emergency, it was very straightforward. It was A and B. It was the first show, I would say, where it actually went on the job, didn't go home with anybody. I mean, in 7 years, you never went home with Roy and met his wife and his 2 kids. You never went home with Johnny, and you didn't know who Johnny's parents were. And, Johnny's parents was his dad a drunk and beat his mother, and that's why Johnny, does what he does. Nobody cared about any of that. All they wanted to know was paramedic. Can firefighters really do this?
Stand clear.
All right, hold it. Go. All right, he's okay. Rampart, he's back in the sinus rhythm.
I didn't know it at the time, but I was at ground zero when it was all starting, and paramedics almost didn't exist. It was so resisted by so many people in so many quarters. Now, I'm not saying that it wouldn't ever exist, but it wouldn't have expanded as quickly as it did if it weren't for the fact that Bob Senator said, I don't care whether this is popular or not. It'll change the face of emergency medicine as we know it forever, and let's put it on TV.
It must be a real challenge being a paramedic.
Oh, it is. When you think of all the people that are depending on you, you really think how important that responsibility is. Mostly, I try not to let it go to my head.
I hope you're better at medicine than you are at modesty.
Squad 51, first aid rescue possible.
I don't think at the end of the show we knew just what an impact the show was having. Granted, we knew it was popular, but we didn't know that people were changing their careers to be a paramedic or to be a firefighter. They all tell me on a daily basis that the show is directly responsible for what they do.
Rampart, this is Rescue 51.
Rampart emergency. Go ahead, 51.
Rampart, we have a male, about 55, height 5'9", weight about 170. Apparent heart attack. Has palpable carotid pulse. Vital signs to follow, Rampart.
Rampart standing by, 51.
Well, I have a really good friend of mine, and he said, when I was a kid, he said, I thought Emergency was a documentary. and in my way of thinking, that was a real compliment.
Squad 51, 10-4.
That's a big 10-4 to you too, Johnny.